Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys ready to go from New York all the way to Ghana, and we might even take a trip around to Jamaica because my guest today, she's from New York. She's an African-American from New York who's moved to Ghana. She moved during the year return. Her first time in Ghana was around 2015, and she fell in love. She understood that her Jamaican history tied into her African history. We're going to get into it because she just didn't move. She created a business. She has a food truck, Deijha, the food truck, and you can catch her on Instagram, and all those links will be in the description box. Is Deijha Views. Don't get that twisted by just clicking the link. But we're going to, hey, welcome, Deijha. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Blessed by the best. And I'm so happy to have you on because when I saw your story, it's not like, I saw it on Forbes yet. It's not like
Not yet.
Not yet. But when I saw it, I said, is she like, what are her ties? I'm Mr. Africa. You'll find that out shortly. And I said, what made her move? And the way you moved, I love that you started a business. I hate when people go to Africa and then they start doing like GoFundMe's to finance their life.
Right.
It makes us look at type. So please give a history of what made you move in such a short time, and then how did you move, leaving your post office job and saying, hey, I'm going to Africa, and we're going to go from there. So tell us something about yourself and that move.
Okay, so like you said, I first went to Ghana in 2015. So when I first visited, I knew that I wanted to come back to the country and start a business and move there. When I had the experience, it was just like a sense of belonging for me. And also when I see what we go through as African Americans here in the States, it's disheartening. So I always felt like we as a people deserve so much better, especially all that we've been through in our history as people now today. So when I went to Ghana, that's exactly how I felt like I deserve to be here. And I just kind of wanted to pave that way for my family and my friends to show them like, we have a place, like we have a safe place. We have a place where we belong, and we have a place where we are welcome, and we can live a life that we actually deserve to live and that we want to live. So it was just more so putting my foot down and knowing what I deserve as a Black woman. Secondly, so I've been working at the post office for 8 years. I started when I was 20. And once again, it's just committing to that goal. I was committed to that vision that I had when I was in Ghana. So my vision was, like, I actually saw it clear as day when I received the vision. It was me in a restaurant. I was cutting the red ribbon, and it was just packed. So it was like the grand opening. And I felt it. I got goosebumps, like I got teary-eyed, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So it was just more so me sticking to that vision and saying, like, I'm going to do this. I have to do this. I felt like God gave me the vision, and so that's what I'm working on now.
Okay, and for those who misheard, because some people heard that you worked at the post office 8 years, and you look like you were 20, meaning you started at 12. But no,
I'm 28.
Oh,
I'll be
man.
29.
It don't crack if you take care of it. It's
right.
But with that, and I love that you're so transparent with the job that you had, because a lot of people think, oh, I could never do that with my job. And
right, exactly.
More than what you made at the government, they just don't know how to work it. So we like to give the game here and be, just so full
transparent.
How much money did you need to have saved up, in your opinion, to move to Ghana and make the move you did to start the business?
So I would like to say that sometimes being naive allows you to do more, because if you know too much information, it'll scare you away from actually doing what you need to do. So I think because I didn't know, and I feel like that's the hardest thing of trying to figure out, is how much do I need to start? Where can I start? Can I start with 1,000? Can I start with 10,000? So for me, and I think it'll be different for everyone, because it just depends on what your intentions are, what you plan on doing once you land, and how serious you are. Like, if you are sitting on time and you just letting time go by, or if you're working fast enough to just get things done. But for me personally, I would say around 10 to 15,000 to, and once again, it depends on what business you want to do. So for me, I would say, in my experience, 10 to 15,000, and that would include having a place, my apartment as well.
Okay. And with that amount of money, were you comfortable to be able to start that business? Or did you say, wow, if this business doesn't work, I'm going to have to, figure something out? Like, did you have anything in reserve to, for that?
Well, I have money in reserve just as like backup, but I was able to live comfortably thus far. So my business is up right now due to the pandemic. We have been out for maybe like a month. So now the flow of money has stopped, to where now I'm trying to find another way to engage with people to keep money flowing in. So that's another factor that people have to take in with when it comes to entrepreneurship, because you don't have like a safety net unless you have that safety net. So it's your responsibility to have that safety net, or whatever you think is a good amount for you to, when times like this happen, whatever you need to survive, you have to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, the thing about it is, even if you were here with the business, you might even be in a worse case scenario, because your bills would be much higher, especially in a state
exactly
like New York. So, I
right.
mean, it's a blessing to be there, where I know in many African places, I don't know if it's true for you, rent can be paid a whole year in advance, which is a way
Yes.
I like to pay my bills, period. And
Right.
but so you're in no worse of a position, unless you say, hey, I wish I had that post office job, because they'll still be working me during this whole pandemic in New York. New
Right.
York is crazy, so you might have.
It's a curse.
Yeah. So no, it's no, that's good. So when you come and you transition, to a new country, what are you, after getting and finding your apartment, which you guys have to check out her YouTube to get more information on that. Some things I'm going to leave out because I want you to go to her YouTube and binge watch it. But
and subscribe.
Yes, subscribe. And also I'm going to tell you, we don't like to just get the game, we like to give it. I want to see you do like a Patreon thing and take that YouTube to another level, because this could be the start of your whole, I'm an influencer, you guys, I'm going to give you the keys, but you're going to support me monthly. We'll go there later. We might even go there off camera, but this is what I do. But the fact that after you find your perfect apartment, or find a place to rest your head, how did you go about, did you always know it was going to be a food truck? Did you know it was going to be Jamaican inspired? And did you have any of those things already in place before you got there?
Okay, so I definitely knew it was going to be Jamaican inspired, simply because that's what inspired me when I went the first time. I seen the Jamaican flags throughout majority of the taxis. And being there reminded me a lot of Jamaica. So it kind of just went off like a light bulb in my head. Like, I should do Jamaican food here. It made so much sense to me because at that point in time, they didn't have any Jamaican restaurants or none that I known of. So I always knew it was going to be Jamaican food. And then when I did some research, I found out that majority of Jamaicans originated from Ghana specifically. So I kind of tied it in with my name, the name of the food truck, and my whole motto is basically bringing in Jamaican flavor back to the motherland. So Jamaican food, yes. As far as my apartment, no. I got my apartment, I want to say December of 2019. I moved to Ghana in October 2019. So it was kind of difficult planning to move or like figuring everything out while I was in the States. I knew I had to be in Ghana because it's difficult finding information on the internet. It's difficult trusting people when it comes to money. So I just knew that I had to actually be in Ghana to make that decision. And I go based off of like how I feel in the space. So if it didn't feel right, I wouldn't go with it. And it felt right, so I went with it.
Okay. So you did everything right when you got there. How long did it take to, find the truck, find your artist, find, who your suppliers were going to be? What was that process like?
So I actually built the truck in Ghana from scratch. So literally from the bottom up, we got it built. I have a few Ghanaian friends back in the States, and I put them to use. I called them and I asked them if they have any aunts or uncles that know any information. So one of my friends, he gave me a contact, which was one of his friends, and he told me that he knew someone. And literally, I want to say I landed in Ghana October maybe 17th, and I put down for them to start building the truck like October 25th. So I wanted everything to be done for the year of return by December. So I was kind of moving fairly quickly. I wanted to be done fairly quickly. Once again, no rush, but I just wanted to be on that time frame because I was like, I know I have a certain amount of money. I need the money to start coming back in. And I just need things to be ready for December. So as far as an artist, once again, I would just put myself out there to receive information. I think that's very important too, because I join like Facebook groups that pertains to African Americans in Ghana, that's just living in Ghana, like all those things. And anytime I ask a question in the groups, people would message me back and give me a bunch of information. So that's very helpful. But for the artist, a friend of mine recommended him to me. And then the next day he was at my house painting the truck, and then just made it happen. You just literally have to take things one step at a time.
Okay. Now, opening up a food truck, you've never owned a food truck. You weren't a chef.
Nope.
Who's doing the cooking? Are you doing the cooking?
So I trained my staff to do the cooking. They were actually working at a restaurant before, but they were pretty good at knowing the kitchen. It was just making it Jamaican food. So I showed them a few things and showed them how it should taste so that they can know, whatever needs to be added a little more. We make everything the jerk season from scratch, so they know how the jerk chicken supposed to taste. I make the rasta pasta myself, and I make the rice and peas myself.
Okay, so you have some skill in the kitchen. You're not sure.
Just a little bit. But I do know a few things just off of watching like my mom cook, and once again, being in Jamaica, knowing what the food's supposed to taste like,
Okay, and did you get into any problems with, I don't, the bay leaf tastes different here versus there,
yes.
or, was there any, issues with finding the ingredients that you needed?
So far, the only thing that we are missing is browning. So we make our own, but it's still not still not Grace Browning, like the Grace brand that I like to use. So either have to ship a barrel to Ghana with a bunch of browning, because that makes a huge difference compared to actually browning, making our own. So that is very important. I have to figure it out. Maybe Grace can, like, you know, we could work a deal out or something.
Okay, yeah. So, well, whoever's coming over, maybe they can dedicate like a suitcase, or
Yeah.
inside the container. Containers are coming in every day, so that's interesting. Now, working the food truck, what's the plan? Is it to then open up another food truck? Is it to eventually have a restaurant? Where do you see yourself going?
So I want to have more food trucks, and I definitely want to have a restaurant. And I don't want to just be based in Ghana. So that's why I didn't, like, for our motto is like I said, bring Jamaican flavor to the motherland so that we can eventually move out to other African countries. I would love to become a franchise so that if anyone else is interested in investing in my company in the future, once we're fully established, you can do so. But yes, more restaurants and more food trucks throughout Ghana.
Okay, franchise talk. I like that type of talk, because that means you're making a profit and that you believe you can have other people make a profit. And we know food trucks are a lot less risky than restaurants.
Yeah.
I can already hear someone say, but give us the game. She built her own food truck. What type of money do I need to have that? Because out of that 15,000, some folks will be like, wait, where this other, here a food truck can be anywhere from 10 to 50,000 and up. So
right.
If someone is considering, doing that, should they, how much should they dedicate to the food truck? The budget, is it $5,000 or is it less?
I would say the 10 to 15 would be apartment and the truck.
Okay. So
that's how much. Yeah. In between there, you can definitely have a food truck and an apartment.
Okay. And built from scratch, folks. So that's a big.
Yes.
Now, we know you went during the year of return, and how do you deal with, cash? Are you taking cash? Are you, many African countries are more advanced on these phones than we are as far as contact lists and all that. But, with taking the cash, how are the banks treating you? Was it easy to open up a bank account? Give us the game on that.
It wasn't difficult. I just needed the proper documentation. And there are some banks that will allow you to open a bank account with your state ID. So it's basically because I have my business registered. And I have I have my US ID. They allowed me to open up a bank account.
Okay. No, that's awesome. And they let you open it up with, no, not saying, hey, you need to put, tens of thousands of dollars in the bank.
No. I had to put 250 cities in the account. So that is about $50.
Very good. That's very, very nice. It's not like that everywhere.
I know that's what I want people to know is, like, it's much easier to get things done. In a sense, it may be difficult because, you're a foreigner to the country and don't know much, but you can get a lot done for a lot less than you would in the States.
And even registering your business, they didn't make it, difficult. And how long did that take? Because, here you could start a business today by just going on the computer, typing it in, paying your fees, and you get the certificate right there in certain states. So how was that process of registering the business?
So my friend had to help me register my business because, once again, I'm not a resident as yet. So I did everything via text message with someone who worked at the registration company. So I filled out the form and then I turned it in, and I want to say like 6 days, I had to go pick up the certificate.
Okay. Now you said a friend had to help you. Does that mean that you had to have a business partner to open up a business in Ghana?
Yeah. So basically how it is, you need to have like a Ghanaian local to, like, that's how you are investing in the country, sort of say, because it's like you're helping a local out with, you are helping them out just as much as they're helping you out, basically. So it'll cost you less to register a business when you have a local on board.
Okay. And sometimes people look at that as, well, what if they try to run off with my business? Or what if they, they think of all the worst case scenarios rather than what if it really blows up and there's enough money for everyone to eat off of?
Right. But the thing is, I won't say just find any person, you know what I mean? You have to find someone that you feel like you can trust. And also there are ways, obviously, if you become a resident of the country, where you can now register it for yourself, but it will still be less if you have a Ghanaian local on board with you.
Okay. And is the plan for you to get residency? And if so, walk us through that process, because that's a question that I hear so often, and it just depends on each country. So for Ghana, what is it going to take for you to get residency?
Well, being that they have the Year of Return initiative in effect and beyond the return, I think that they are making it much easier for African Americans to return. So far, what I found out is either I would basically kind of hire myself under my business, because I need to be here because I'm working here, and that way that's how I would get residency. Or if I would have a part-time job, whoever I know that has a business or that can hire me and say like, yes, this is what I'm doing and I'm working here in the country, then that's how I'll be able to get the residency.
Okay. And I don't know if that's important to you, but to many of listeners out there, and people just want to know, and we want to be able to get them the game. Now, one thing that most people that go to Africa see is potential of business. So I'm thinking the food truck might be your first business, but you probably see opportunity all over. What other things have your eyes and mind on?
So many other things. So like I said, another food truck, an actual restaurant. I do want to own a farm. 2 separate kinds. I want to own a farm that will provide food for my restaurant and trucks. And then I want to have a cocoa farm and an ackee farm. So I do plan to export those goods. And then I want to get into real estate. So I think real estate is huge in Ghana because you can get land for a good price. So far, farmland, I've seen 3 acres for $3,000. That's what I've seen for myself thus far. So what else is there to do? Real estate. And once again, I feel like Ghana is up and coming. There's so much you can do in the country, and people are excited to see what people like me would bring, like what new we would bring. So anything that you see in the States that you think would do good there, I would say test it out and try it. So many people have been messaging me on Instagram and asking me if I think this is a good idea or that is a good idea. And I think it'll work. So many people are visiting. So many people are transitioning and moving. I really see a lot working in Ghana.
Now, does it ever get to a point where, and I don't know, I know there's neighborhoods full of African Americans that you say, hold on, I'm tired of seeing, folks from, New York, Texas, whatnot. Like, is it so many of us out there that you can be like, wait, I see an American every day and I'm running from that, or, not running from that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a resort I was on, and I was literally running to get away from Americans because I was tired of, well, in Texas, we do it like this. And I'm like,
Right.
you are in Jamaica right now. I
Right.
gotta get off
Well,
this.
I think that's because you was actually on a resort. When it's a difference when you are just visiting and when you actually live there, because like I said, now I'm in my apartment and I'm around locals. So I walk down the road to buy coconut and I'm interacting with the locals. So it's kind of different. But there are places where it's very diverse. I haven't been to a place where I've seen like a lot of people from the US, but I would say like Asians, Lebanese, in that sense, not just from the States, just like all over.
Okay.
But
okay.
It's never been a point where I was like, oh no, I have to run away from this area, because it's literally like it's diverse all throughout.
Okay. We have like inside jokes with different clients and friends where we talk about, like, we really hope Ghana, you don't get to Ghana and you see the same thing that you would see in Oakland, and the same nonsense, and you're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, y'all made it here too.
I know. I hope Ghana keep its uniqueness, because that's what makes it special. So I don't want people to come and try to change it for what it is. But I would love to see, like, growth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's just really it. I would love to see growth. I would love to see people coming and making it better, not trying to like turn it into something it's not. And then coming there and complaining about it. That's so annoying.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking about, even with your post office background, I don't know how their mail service works. I know how other countries are in the improvements, but do you find any issue, or that maybe that knowledge that you got from the post office could benefit you while there?
Well, I worked inside, so I don't really know too much about like deliveries, because I was just really processing the mail.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a short amount of time spent in like the actual store part of the post office, but it hasn't really been beneficial to my move or even me needing to ship anything over.
Okay. Because I know, like, people go to Ghana and they'll say, oh, I'm going to teach here, but they're not getting paid the amount of money that they would get paid here or in China. So a lot of times those things, they don't work, so they're forced into business, which I love it. I love business.
Right.
And so with that, I'm thinking, even you are now an influencer for those who want to move and create a business, and that's a book, that could be a documentary. These are all things you can do.
I actually have an ebook in the works. Like, I wrote it all out. Well, a book period. We can call it a book period. I wrote it all out, and I've been working on it to edit it myself. And so just be on the lookout for that.
Okay. What's your time frame, do you think? We don't want to rush greatness, but how are you close to being done?
Yeah, so like I said, I've finished it completely. Now I just have to convert it over to an actual book. I have a picture of the cover of what I want it to look like. So I want to say it's about 80% complete.
Okay, I want to talk about that. Besides the PR firm, we have a publishing company. So I'll give you a tip, and I think everyone should have their own publishing company if you're going to write books. And
Cool.
I'll tell you off camera why that is, because the audience will be like, I thought this was about Africa and, creating a business. And we're going to stay in that business talk. And I want to know, how do you deal with taxes? Because even though you're in Africa, in another country, in
Oh,
Ghana,
sorry.
you still, the U.S., says, they still want their tax money. At least you get a $90,000 break in most
Right.
places. But how do you, deal with that? Do you have are you doing your own accounting, or do you have two different sets of CPAs? How have you worked that out?
Apart from like my business in Ghana and then paying taxes in the States.
Yes.
So I haven't really even gotten to that point as yet, but they do have the U.S. Embassy where you can get all the information as far as like doing business and still paying your taxes and paying your dues back to the States. Because if you don't, they will find you eventually, especially as a U.S. citizen. So I advise anyone, do not try to be slick and not do it, because they'll find you. I'm sure they will. But like I said, I haven't figured that out yet. My truck is still fairly new. We literally just started selling like in, I want to say the end of February, and then we had to shut down due to the pandemic. So I'm still figuring everything out. I'm new to everything. I'm figuring everything out. So once I figure that out, I will post it on my YouTube for all my subscribers.
Okay, awesome. That's another reason to subscribe. What about local tax? And when I say local tax, I don't just mean what the government wants, but sometimes you have, local people
Yes.
who come. My grandfather is this, that. It's almost like the mob, except they're a lot friendlier. So talk about
that. So they definitely do come and tax you, especially if they help you with just picking up something off the floor. Sometimes I do give when I do have, but then I have to keep in mind that I know when I'm in a position, I'll be able to give much more. And that's my main intention, is to give back to the country. So when I have, I give. It can get annoying sometimes because you just be walking down the road and it's like 10 people begging you. But once again, I always take a step backwards and remember where I came from. I remember that I'm in their country. So I just have to, I think just having to be understanding that they look at me as an opportunity. And that's fine with me, because I want to bring opportunities to them and the country. So I would say to people, just be patient and be understanding, even though it can be annoying. But yeah, just be understanding that, they're in need.
No, they're definitely in need. And if you are able to give, what does it cost you? Because people are more appreciative too, versus, here you might do something to somebody and like, actually, I'm a vegan, I don't eat that. And you're like, oh.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It doesn't cost much. So sometimes I would give a small portion of a meal, or like I would give away 5 cities and that's $1. I'll give them 1 city and that's like cents. You know what I mean? So it's not a big deal to give. And I firmly believe that in order to receive, you must give. So it's rewarding to give to them, and then to see them so happy with something small, and it makes me feel good about it.
Okay. And with the giving, that's one thing that I'm going to get into and a wrap up question. But what about what you're getting? Because, English, most people will speak English, especially in the city that you're in, but, they do have their own local languages and dialects. Yes. How have you adjusted to that, and have you started to learn Tree or anything else?
Mainly Tree. So I don't know completely, but I do know a few words here and there. And so my driver, Bram, he's been my Uber driver since October. So me and my mom met him simply requesting an Uber, and then he's been with me ever since. So that's another example of like giving, because he works with me every day and I pay him every single day to take me wherever I need to go. And that's kind of like the reward that I get. So it's way less than Ubers in the States. There's sometimes an Uber can cost you 20 cities, which is like $5 to go somewhere far. You know what I mean? But I forgot the question.
Okay, no, just have you started to learn the language?
Oh yeah, tree.
And have you built a need too, to learn?
Yeah, I feel like it's very important, especially because I have staff members who, that's the language that they speak. That's their main language. And I don't want it to be a point where I'm just standing there not knowing what's going on. It's very important for me to know so that I can know what they're talking about. And it's important because I have to go to the markets. I have to do deals with the people that built my truck. And I think it makes them feel better to know that I'm interested in learning their language as well.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the language is not as hard as you may think it is, because it's sometimes they'll speak and I'll catch on to what the conversation is about.
Okay. Some might say out there that's the ancestors talking to you, so you can feel the vibration. You feel the vibe. But no, language is, as long as I think when you go to a place, you should always at least learn the basics in that language wherever you go. It's
I think it's respectful, like, especially once again, me being from the States and then coming into their space, and just to show them my appreciation as well, that I'm just not here to just be here, I'm fully involved.
Okay, fully involved, and we're giving you the financial game, but I'm gonna go personal real quick, just because I always find this so funny, and some people could say romantic. But how many times have you been invited for marriage?
In Ghana?
In Ghana, yeah. so
how many times? Do I need an exact number?
No, but it's happened already, and you haven't been there that long. There'll be Americans who say, "What? I can go get married?"
Yes.
That.
Seriously, even the first time I went, it was crazy. Yeah, and their way of, like, one guy asked me, what will it take? Like, how much will he need to marry me?
Bride price.
And me being from here, it would sound offensive, but that's how they do things. Like, you have to show that you can provide for your wife, that they would have to have something to give to the father or the parents, and pay their dues. So yeah, it's been a couple of plenty people. Man.
Ain't nothing wrong with bride price, and it's and your family has to get in on that too.
Yep. They deserve to.
Yeah, everybody gets a piece. Oh yes, I took care of her when she was a baby, so now that you can have her as a grown woman, everyone has to get in on that.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So with all of that, I like to ask every guest, and what is their community give back that they are doing currently, or that they want to do in the future for their business and in life?
So once again, I have these visions, and I said that whatever farmland that I purchase, majority of the time it'll be like in a village. And I said that I'll promise whoever's working on my farm that their children would be educated. I'll make sure that they get the opportunity to get their education, because a lot of children in Africa or in Ghana are not able to go to school. And here we take that as, it's a must. If you're not in school as a child, then as a parent, you'll get in trouble for that. So that's definitely one thing I would love to give back, is educating the children, because they are the future. And if they're educated, then I'm assuming the world will be a better place.
Oh, that's very, yeah. I mean, so their family doesn't necessarily have to be like in a caste system where the father was a farmer, now the son is a farmer.
Right.
And so, yeah, I definitely, I feel that.
Right.
How?
Also, I do. Oh.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. So, of course, with having and owning a food truck, I have it in my mind to, once again, once we're fully established, to give food, especially when you see the people on the streets and they have children on the street and they're just begging for the smallest amount of money. I think that's so important. And especially since I'm in that field, it's like I have to, that's one thing I feel like I have to give back to, is just giving them food.
Okay. That's a great goal, and I know they'd appreciate it. How long can you stay in Ghana? You know, I know sometimes people stay forever because they get lost in the crowd. But does Ghana have any stipulation where you can only come in on your visa for 6 months or a year and you have to go back and then come back in or anything like that?
So once you land, they write on the stamp in your passport 60 days. Mm-hmm. So you have to either extend that 60 days, you have to go back to the airport and extend it. I think you get up to 3 more months, 90 days. And when you do leave the country, you'll have to pay a fee, which is like 40 cities a month, every month that you're over the 60 days.
Okay.
But so far, I've overstayed my stay, and then I went out to South Africa, so I had to give them 80 cities. But it's not like, once again, if you are here in the States and you overstay your stay, they're coming for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like that I've experienced or I've heard anyone else experience. Okay.
So now that you've done West Africa and South, and we've opened that up, and I think you've also gone to London and other places.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if Ghana and South Africa are the only 2 countries you've been to in Africa so
Nigeria
far,
too.
which one? Wait, there are only 2, right?
Nigeria also.
Oh, Nigeria. Okay, let's throw Nigeria in there.
Mm-hmm.
Which place thus far is your favorite?
Ghana.
Okay.
Is just a different vibe. It gives me a different feeling. Like, it's a spiritual feeling that I really can't explain. Nigeria was fun. I had a great time in Nigeria, but it wasn't Ghana. South Africa reminds me a lot of a modern Africa. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I was back. Like, it reminds me of like a California or something. So, and I only stayed in Johannesburg. I didn't go out to Cape Town, so I wouldn't really know how that part is. But I would definitely say Ghana. Ghana speaks to me.
Okay. No, awesome. Yeah, you know, Nigeria with 20 million people in one city.
Yeah.
and Joburg, I'm sure they're still selling their nasty videos downtown, you know, around 5. But no, I just wanted to know. I mean, because there's no competition on, you know, when they talk about who has the best jollof rice. Everybody knows Senegal and Cameroon. So Nigeria and Ghana can't be even.
Wait, I never even heard of that.
You never heard of the jollof?
Senegal and Cameroon.
Senegal, because they created chepojin, and chep is jollof rice. It's just, you know, they call it something else, and no one would say that Senegalese don't have the best rice. And then Cameroon.
Well, I've never tried it, so I can't say.
Oh yeah.
So,
okay.
Well, when I try it, I'll let you know. But so far, I would definitely say Ghana.
Okay.
Ghana is always going to be number 1 on my list, but I prefer Ghana jollof over Nigerian jollof. Don't kill me, guys.
That I'll agree to, because Nigerians don't know how to, even jollof. It's even a different pronunciation. It's not the same thing, but they can have things like, you know, okra soup and you know, fish. It's hard to mess up fish, but I got to. But let me not make my Nigerians mad. I have Nigerian blood in me as well, so I get it. but we have to be honest. But my Cameroonian
Right.
tells me, and I'm just a foodie. So no, I appreciate that game, and I want to talk to you after, but I want the people not to get a game overload. I want them to soak this in. You guys check out her, Instagram. If you're talking about business, as you see, she already has enough wedding proposals, marriage proposals. Don't be thirsty in the DMs, but I appreciate.
Don't be thirsty. I'm taking.
She's taking. There you go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.